Hi guys, welcome to a trick that involves some books. It's going to be a classic mentalism effect using books. It's known as a book test. And we've got a couple of these for you today. So this is how the trick will appear to the audience. Now you get some people to help you. You're going to use the cards, you say, to give you a random page number and word. Now I've got a few books here. You can use any books. I've gone for the Harry Potter books. And basically you mix these up and you ask a spectator to grab any two of these books. Now they can go for any two books, it makes no difference. You'll get rid of those and that leaves you with this one, which if we take a look is the Philosopher's Stone. That's the book we're going to use. Now in this book there must be over 100,000 words. I'm going to get you to choose one randomly. You've chosen a book randomly. What better way to choose something random than with a deck of cards? There's no control over these. Let me just show you the cards. Just regular cards. Okay. And now I know what you're thinking. If I was to shuffle these cards, you'll probably say, well, you could have shuffled cards to the top to force me to pick those. So I'll tell you what we'll do. If you can just grab a small bunch of cards and cut them, and wherever you cut, we're going to start there. So there's the cards. And from here, I'm going to remove 3 cards. Now to keep this simple, we don't want any picture cards. So I'm going to look away and show you the top 3 cards you cut to. If there's a picture, just let me know and we'll discard those and pick the next 3. So if I show you these 3 cards, is there a picture? Yes, there is. Okay, well let's try the next 3 cards. Is there a picture? Yeah. And we'll keep going until we just get to number cards. Number cards? Yeah. We're going to use 2 of these cards to denote the page number in your freely chosen book, and this one, if you could put this in your pocket out of the way, they're going to put that in their pocket and we'll come back to that. You say to them, the 2 cards you randomly chose, they're going to represent the page number. For example, if this was a 7 and that was an 8, then it'd be page 78. So are you ready? I'm going to look away. Just look at those cards. We'll get rid of those. Remember that page number. I want you to pick up the book and flick to that page, but keep it towards yourself. Now the spectator will flick through the book. You then ask them to have a peek at the card in their pocket. That will denote which word on this page it will be. If they've got a 10, it'll be the 10th word. If it's a 7, it'll be the 7th word. So they will then look at their card and they will then go to that word. If you can remember that word, close the book up and put it down. I've got no way of knowing which book you would have chosen, which page you would have gone to out of all of these, and which word out of the 100,000 words. It could have been anything. I want you to repeat that word that's in your head again and again. Don't move your lips, just repeat it in your head. I'm picking up, it's not a long word, and it's got the letter L. The word you're thinking of from the book is the word Lord. And it is. We won't use that one. We've got a couple of books here. Just give me one of those books and give you a book. Again, you'll get rid of the other one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to write down the word so you don't forget it. And again, we can shuffle these cards. And in fact, let's do a real mixed shuffle. Let's just gather these up. So you've now thoroughly mixed the cards. There we go. That is what you call a shuffled deck of cards. What I'd like you to do is I'm going to just go through the cards, just say stop whenever you want. Stop there. I want you to look at that card, and this time we're going to add a couple of cards. So whatever the values are, we'll add those, and that will give us our page number. I look away, I want you to take that card and add that to whatever happens to be the next one. I've got no idea what it is. You shuffled the cards, you've arrived at a page number by adding these two together. I want you to open up the book that you chose to that random page, and then you want them to choose any card. Now this is an absolute free choice. You don't get involved in this. They handle the cards and they can pick any playing card from the pack. It makes absolutely no difference. This is no force. They pick a card, and whatever the number is, that'll be the word on that page that they're going to use. Okay, so they pick out the word and they will write down on there. They will rip off, they then fold that up and keep that safe. I'm going to come back and say I'm going to write something down on here, and I've written a word that's come to mind. That is the word months. Now at this point the spectator is amazed, because out of the free book, the shuffled cards they shuffled on the table, they arrived at a page number of 17. Out of the shuffled pack, it was the 6th word on page 17, and it was indeed the word months. You can use any books. You probably noticed that you do force the books on there. So for the first one, for example, I needed them to choose the Philosopher's Stone. That needed to be chosen first. So when you put these down, you ask them to grab any two books. Now if they grab these two, which you don't want, you can get rid of those and you're left with the correct one. If they grabbed these two, you move this to one side, and then you then say, and hand me one of those. Use those words, hand me one of those. Now if they hand you this one, you say, and we'll get rid of that. We'll come back to those. They're now left holding this. If they hand you the one you want, you say, okay, this is the one we're going to use. Just put that over there. I'm sure you've done this in other tricks, so it's pretty straightforward. Force the book onto them, whichever method you want. That looks as though they had a choice. You then say about 100,000 words. I don't know how many words are in there, but it sounds good. The pack itself is stacked. It's our classic and our favourite stack, the Size Stebbins. If you haven't come across the Size Stebbins before, I've got other videos. I'll put links to them in the description below, that you can read all about the Size Stebbins stack. You probably noticed that even though it's a stack, I did an overhand shuffle, and you're probably thinking, well, you've messed it up. What I did is I took a small bunch of cards from the bottom and I did an overhand shuffle properly. Now that looks as though I've really messed them up, but what I then got them to do is to cut about a quarter or a third of the cards off. What they're actually doing is cutting off those cards. What you've done, you've got rid of a small bunch of cards that you shuffled to the bottom. We're now into the stack. It's that simple. You don't have to, you can just get the spectator to cut the cards. When I deal off 3 cards to show them, if there's a picture, you put them to the bottom and you take the next 3 or the next 3. Now in this case, you can see that I've got these 3 cards, and that's say there's no picture. You then deal this one and this one as your page number. It has to be in that order, and tell them to put the 3rd one in their pocket. Now the reason being is because there's only 4 outcomes. If I show you these cards, I can tell you now these 3 cards will either denote, and I put them on the screen, it'll either denote page 14, page 25, page 36 or page 47, and on those pages it'll either be the 7th word, the 8th, the 9th or the 10th word. That's just the sidestepping stack coming into play there. So all I have to remember before the trick are the 4 words that appear at those 4 locations. Now I know that the 4 words are his, Lord, make, him. That's what I've got from this book. During the routine, you won't actually see the cards that they choose. So the 2 cards that they turn over and have a look at will determine which page number they're going to be on. Now we know that they can only either be on page 14, 25, 36 or 47. We've got 2 odd pages and 2 even pages. Remember, all pages on this side are even pages and all pages on this side are odd. So when they cover their thumb over this one, you know that they've got an odd page number. Now at this point you don't know which page number they're at, but you do know that your 4 page numbers arrived at by the sidestepping stack is page 14, 25, 36, 47. So 2 of those are odd, page 25 and page 47. Okay, so their word can either be the word Lord or the word in. They're the 2 words. So once I know it's one of those 2 words, when you do the mind reading thing, you can kind of fish around for it and say it's a very, very small word, and then they might say yes, and then you say, has it got at the beginning a letter I? Now if they say yes, then you know that it is the word in. If they said no, you know the word is Lord. And that's how the trick works. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you've remembered those 4 words, it's pretty straightforward. You're always going to end up with one of those 4 words. Very quickly on to the second part. That's even easier. Let's get rid of this. You need to force a book onto them out of the 2 that are left. You can use the same book, but I prefer to use one of the other ones. Now I want them to choose this one. So you say, look, we've got 2 books here, just give me one of those books. Now if they give me this one, I get rid of that. This is the one I want them to use. Magician's Force. Now I already know that I want them to pick page 17, but I'm not worried about which word they pick. It's got to be page 17. So when we took the cards, and the great thing about this, you can shuffle up the sidesteppings now and spread them out and get them to dive in as well. When you're doing this, what you're looking for is any 2 cards that come to 17. So as I'm going through, I might go through here and get these. I'm looking for a 10 and a 7 or anything else that adds up to this. It could be a king, which is 13, and I could get a 4. So when you're doing all this, just get those, and if you just put a little bit of pressure on here, can you see it opens up these cards? So they're busy doing this, you're busy doing this, and then you just start to scoop up the cards into here. Just make sure that when you gather the cards, the 2 cards that you want to add up to 17 are at the bottom. You then force those 2 cards onto them. It doesn't matter how you force them. I just do the Hindu shuffle type, stop. They remember those 2 cards. Okay, 13 and a 4 is 17. So with 17, we know that that's the page they're looking at. The strong part of this trick is where they can pick any card. Now, when they pick up page 17, remember, if you think about it, no matter which card they pick, the word they're going to pick is either between 1 and 13. So they can go through and pick out any card. Now, you get to see this. You need to see this, so it's no trick. You just say which one do you want. As they push it out, just take it and turn it over and say, I want you to pick the 13th word. That's it. You give them a piece of paper, they write it down and cover it up and do whatever they want to do. For me, in my notepad, If I open it up and write on here, but look, what I've got up here, now I don't know whether the camera, I'll try one of these cameras, either this one or this one, probably not going to pick it up very well, but on the bottom of this page, I've actually written the 13 words that appear on page 17. So there it is there. That. Now what I've done along here is cut the bottom of this pad, so I've done like a short cut card, and what that means is when I grab the pad I can very quickly open it up to the right page. I can see up here the 13th one on there, and I will write that down on here. I can then rip out the page and the trick's done. A couple of good book tests. Hopefully you can go through, practice, see how you get on with that and maybe make a few improvements to it. But I'm sure you'll add one or both of those to your collection of tricks. Remember, practice and enjoy.